What's going by is WebsterStyle, Brian Sapph. Of course, there's another NRW checkpoint. Brian, how are you doing today, man?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. My belly's full, so I'm really good to go right now. It's weird. We got this glut of games
Right.
October into November, and then after Thanksgiving is like, okay, it's like one major release each week, and this week is no different. But also, it's something I've seen last week and this week, and I think because of the holiday rush, we're having more and more games ported or coming out for systems that didn't come out before. Like last week, the Batman Arkham trilogy finally came out for Switch, and this week we have a couple of games that have kind of been lingering around that are just coming out for like in wider release. Well, let's get into it. First up, we have a Highland song on the Switch and PC from Inkle Limited. Moira McKinnon is running away. A wild adventure through the Scottish Highlands with open platforming and dynamic storytelling, maps and music from the creators of Heaven's Vault in 80 Days. And we are watching the trailer for that one because I just saw that and I'm like, oh, we have to watch the trailer for that. That sounds really cool, especially with that sort of Scottish Highlands theme. And I'm thinking of the music in my head that's associated with them. Like,
yeah,
I want to definitely get that.
Definitely.
Next up, we have a game that I thought was out already, but apparently has been in like an open preview for the past year. I was like, goodness gracious. And it was on Game Pass, which is why I'm like, oh, it's out already.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. They was charging people for that, and that's not even the full game.
Right. Well, what's out now is the full game, and it's $39.99, at least on PC when I looked it up. And it's none other than Disney Dreamlight Valley. It's on everything. It's literally on everything. I mean, even Mac is listed as a platform that is on. Right. So from Gameloft, as a developer, publisher, Disney Interactive Studios, explore a world filled with the magic of Disney as you discover rich stories and build a perfect neighborhood alongside Disney and Pixar heroes and villains in this new life sim adventure game. Welcome to Disney Dreamlight Valley. Now, this is what, like Harvest Moon times Disney or something like that?
Yeah, it's a mix of, at least from my understanding, it's a mix of Harvest Moon, like you said, and Animal Crossing. Like, pretty much run around the city, and there's various Disney characters in the game. They offer you different kind of quests and challenges and things like that.
Okay.
And, you kind of assist the NPC with furthering the development of the city.
Right. All right. Now the next game, I swear this is like the third time we've covered this game because apparently it was pushed back. And it is Have a Nice Death, and it's originally dropped for the Switch and PC back in March. And I feel like we've talked about it again since then. So I believe that it got pushed back for the other systems, and the other systems are going to be Xbox One, SX, PS4, and PS5 from Magic Design Studios as the developer and Gearbox as the publisher. So I'll go through this quickly. Have a Nice Death is a 2D action roguelike where you play as an overworked death whose employees have run rampant, completely throwing off the balance of souls and his vacation plans. In order to restore order, you will have to grab your trusty scythe and show your employees who's boss. And I know we've watched the trailer for this before, and both you and I were very excited about this game. So this is finally coming out to platforms that we actually own.
Okay, right. So I can finally play.
Right.
I wonder if they're gonna put a demo out. I need it.
That's a good question about that one.
Yeah, need a demo.
Right. Next up, we have the Anacrusis, which is on the Xbox Series S and X. And this is another game that was in preview for like forever because it was on Game Pass. And a game preview, I believe, for like the past year. So this is another game that I'm very surprised that, it's out now. And, okay. I thought it was out already, sort of thing. Right. So it's one of those things where a lot of people are familiar with it already, but It's all good. So this is a game from Stray Bombay. Battle for survival against endless alien hordes with your friends. From the lead for Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, the Anacrusis is a 1 to 8 player first-person shooter. Experience intense full-player co-op action or play as the aliens as you stop your friends in versus mode. Now with Steam Workshop support. Now, I'm kind of upset because I had no idea what this game was about when it was in a game preview on Game Pass, and it's no longer on Game Pass. I'm like, all you need to say was Left 4 Dead, I would have been there.
Right.
Like, that was all I needed to know. But of course,
they don't know how to market well.
Exactly. There was no sort of marketing whatsoever. And I blame Xbox for that as well, because usually they're pretty good of highlighting those sort of games. But they didn't do that in this case. So I missed out. Oh, well, I'll watch a trailer eventually, though. But we are not watching a trailer for that one.
So they took it off Game Pass already? Hold on.
Yeah, it left Game Pass, I think, like last month.
Okay.
Because I looked it up earlier today when I was doing everything. It's like, oh, it's not there anymore. So, yeah, but I knew it was leaving. So I think it left last month, but now it's going for a push of, we let you play it for a year for free, then you got to buy it, sort of thing.
Right.
So next up, we have really the biggest game of the week from a mass market perspective, and that's Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. And this one's on the next current gen systems, Xbox Series systems, PS5, and PC. It's from Ubisoft Massive as a developer and Ubisoft proper as a publisher. Played in a first-person perspective. Players take control of a Navi orphan raised and trained as a soldier by the Resources Development Administration, or RDA, before being put into suspended animation and waking up 15 years later in an abandoned facility. The player must embark on a journey across the western frontier, a never-before-seen region of Pandora, discovering their origins and organizing the local Navi tribes to fight back against the RDA as they attempt to exploit the natural resources of the western frontier. Now, Brian, did you ever see Avatar 2?
No.
Okay, me either. And again, I know we talked a lot about Avatar 2 and like, dude, who is this for? Apparently a lot of people went to see it and really enjoyed it. Yeah. I still haven't yet, and again, much like when we talk about the movies, I know this is a big property, but this is a big property that people want to play. Well, they proved this wrong by going to see the movie. So, but is this a big property that people want a game for it? That's my question.
I personally think so, and that's more so just based off of the fanfare behind the movies. Like, people raved about the first Avatar, and now, I mean, the second one has done well, and we kind of understand, at least at this point, that there's more of a, well, I don't want to call it a trilogy, but there's more,
Oh, that's like,
pipeline.
Yeah, it's gonna be like up to 5, I think.
Yeah,
it's like 5 of them. Yeah.
So yeah, we know that they're trying to build a world here. So I just feel like at some point people was like, "Oh yeah, I would definitely play that." I mean, when you think about it, it's the Avatar as a whole. It's pretty much a virtual reality game. Like this is a real human being, and he got his conscience uploaded into one of these things, or something like that. Either way,
in the first one, that's what happened.
Yeah. Either way, it makes for I feel like it'll make for a good game. I remember when they showed the trailer for it on one of these most recent like state of plays or whatever. It looked good. It kind of reminded me of the Horizon series, but I could definitely still see it like gaining a lot of attention. Especially
that actually makes a lot of sense when you make that comparison.
Yeah, I thought about it because I had just gotten like the first Horizon because I was trying to catch up for the second, which I need to finish that game. Either way, a lot of aerodynamics and stealthy kind of movement, but then there's very much melee style in there, and then you riding these like beasts and everything, these mechanical beasts around this vast like open world. It reminded me a lot of Horizon, with just like Avatar skin over it, which depending on how the story goes, that could be a good or a bad thing.
Right. Well, we are watching a trailer, so we will see. Okay. Next up, we have, okay, as much as I love Terminator and Terminator 2,
okay,
the series should have just been left alone after Terminator 2.
Because we have,
yes.
So you didn't like 3?
3 was bad.
Okay, that's fair. That's
in retrospect, I'll put it this: 3 cannot compare to 2.
Okay,
but 3 at the time wasn't horrible. But when you really look back on it, 3 does not stand the test of time. And then we've gotten the other movies after that. It's like, can we just let Terminator chill for a while? But somebody felt like that the Terminator Dark Fate movie, the last one, was a good license to get. So now we have Terminator Dark Fate Defiance is on a PC. It's from Slytherin Limited. So Terminator Dark Face Defiance, Dark Fate, not Dark Face. Defiance is a gritty RTS that puts you in the middle of the future wars between humanity and Legion's synthetic intelligent machine network. Take command and lead your army to foil Legion's plan to destroy humanity, or play as one of the 3 factions in skirmish and multiplayer. So they took and made an RTS.
Yeah. Which, sure, why not?
It's different than what we would expect from a Terminator game. So they hopefully, look, if it's a good game, I want a game that has to be successful. So I'm hoping it's a good game, and I'm hoping it finds an audience enough for them to be successful. Because, a lot of these guys put a lot, guys, girls, whatever, put a lot of time and energy and time away from their families, loved ones, and friends to get these games out, especially by the end of the year. So I'm wishing them much success in that. Even with my skepticism, I want them to succeed.
Yeah, that's fair. And to their credit, they did pick a series to make a game for that does have a built-in fan base. So
yes, they do. They weren't stupid about that.
Yeah, they're it might not find like widespread success because there's nothing to tie it to right now. I can understand if it was like rebooting the series or something like that, but it's pretty much a standalone, like just out here kind of Terminator game. But
right.
That's a cult classic, honestly.
Right. We see what Nacon did with RoboCop this year, so anything is possible.
Yeah, definitely so.
All right, and last but not least, now Brian, I'm not a big PC gamer, but you and I both watch video game stuff on YouTube, regardless if we're playing it or not. And this game is one of those games where the trailer dropped about 2 years ago, and it's one of those games that people said, this game does not exist. This game is never coming out. This looks too good. Well, it's finally coming out. Okay. We'll see if it actually is up to the hype. But it is the day before. It's coming out on PC. It's from Fantastic as a developer, and that's Fantastic without the first A or caps. And the publisher is Mytona Fantastic, spelled the same way. The day before is an open world MMO survival set in a deadly post-pandemic America, overrun by, of course, flesh-hungry infected and survivors killing each other for food, weapons, and cars. You wake up alone in a world you no longer remember, setting out to find answers and the resources to survive.
Okay.
So a zombie MMO, basically. So basically, it's doing the Last of Us factions, what Sony's trying to do and failing at. Basically.
Exactly.
So, of course, we don't know if the day before succeeds either, but at least they pushing out a product.
Yeah.
And apparently it's been honestly for a while.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's I don't know. I like that premise there. I can definitely understand why people were like, oh, this is not gonna happen. It's not real. Because imagine a massive multiplayer online game where you can make little clans and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And for it to look as good as the trailers did. And I think that was the big thing, like the graphical fidelity of the trailers they put out. Excuse me, we're about to watch the trailer now. Was what had so many people skeptical about this game being real.
Which I don't necessarily understand that, because usually the trailers look good. It's a bunch of cutscene footage.
Right.
But okay. So yeah, let's check out the trailer if you're ready.
Let's get into it. The day before.
The Day Before offers a uniquely reimagined journey into post-apocalyptic MMO open world survival. Artfully developed by Fantastic and brought to you by the publisher Mytona. The open world of The Day Before is beautiful and richly detailed, set in the present day on the U.S. East Coast, following a deadly pandemic.
I gotta be East Coast.
The game begins after you are rescued by the survivors of the Woodbury Colony, your new refuge and safe home.
From now on, the doors of Woodbury will always be open to you.
But first, you will create your unique character. Select a person,
Really?
choose a gender, and customize every detail. Immersing yourself in our vision of post-apocalyptic America. Woodbury survivors are working to rebuild the community, constantly needing supplies, building materials, and various items. Your main task is to bring as much valuable loot as possible, and in return, you'll be rewarded with the local currency known as Woodbury coins.
Who the hell needs your junk?
Keep track of your health, hunger, and thirst indicators. And remember, dangers are everywhere here, ranging from the vicious infected to other players who are ready to take everything from you. We've designed survival in this world to be a thrilling experience. The weapons, which can be modified, are made with maximum realism to ensure that combat remains deep and engaging at all times. Each weapon boasts unique characteristics, as well as realistic reload and recoil mechanics. Completing various community tasks also presents an opportunity to earn Woodbury coins.
Well, who do I see here? How's it going, my friends?
Woodbury coins can be exchanged for ammo, from regular to armor-piercing, weapons, protective equipment, backpacks, food, drinks, and medicines. Spa access to relax, and a gym to work at. Safeguard your accumulated items by storing them in secure storage. Exchange Woodbury coins for cars to swiftly collect loot and access distant, hard-to-reach locations. You will receive your own ranch, where you can purchase and upgrade houses, as well as install furniture and decorations. The ranch serves as your cozy, safe oasis amidst the post-apocalyptic chaos. Welcome to the next generation of post-apocalyptic MMO open-world survival games like never before. Immerse yourself in The Day Before.
The Day Before, early access December 7.
Oh, this is early. Okay. I understand why people were skeptical. They doing too much.
There's a lot in there. It's a whole lot.
A whole lot. I have to watch some reviews on this now because I'm curious as to what they say about it. I am impressed, even if it works half as good as the trailer says.
I feel like it might come close. Some of that stuff is definitely gonna be patched in later.
Yeah,
it just don't make sense to have all of that capability coming out of the box. And then we saw what Cyberpunk tried to do, and they had to patch a bunch of stuff in. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm gonna see because this looks like interesting.
It's very interesting.
I'm more curious about some of the gameplay mechanics as far as like, because I could see a bunch of eager angsty Call of Duty players running around just looting people instead of like trying to. And I don't, as fun as that could possibly be, if I was one of those super angsty people, I am not. I would definitely scavenge and go into different buildings or whatever, try to see what I find. If I run up on somebody, then I will kill them, but I'm not just like waiting in the street hunting down people that are trying to like survive. So I wonder if there's like anything in place to like keep that kind of stuff down. Because if it's supposed to be a massive multiplayer online game, I just see it turning into another war zone, and it's just people killing each other for supplies. Nobody's looking for anything or trying to figure out the best way to do stuff. They just killing each other, which that's gonna get boring fast. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm interested, but skeptical is definitely a word coming out of this one as well for me.
I agree. Next up, we have another game that we have some healthy skepticism about, but we've already addressed that, and it's Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Of course, it's 3D audio.
Let's see this trailer.
I'm trying to see something because I need to see what this is developing. It looks great, but there's something about these games where they all look the same.
Yeah, there's a generic standard for all the first person shooter games as of late. I wonder if it's the technology they're using to create them. Like, is it the same engine or something?
I'm like, are they all using Unreal 5? I'm trying to see. I don't see any. Oh, Snowdrop. That's the engine they're using. Okay, so that's the same one. Okay, that's the same one they've used in the Division.
Okay, which I see it now. Now that you said that.
Okay, and the Division was made by Massive. So okay. All right. So they've used in a lot of games, the South Park games, the Mario games. They've tailored that engine to a whole lot of stuff. That's what it really is. That's what it reminds me of. Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay.
They're using in that game as well. So, because I'm like, the textures, like it looks like Pandora, but the textures look so familiar. And again, not to knock it, but I'm not cool with everything looking the same. And that's, look, I'm not a developer. I'm not. I said it before. I'm not a developer. The only coding class I took in undergrad was Turbo Pascal, and that joint was outdated for years by the time I took it. And don't ask me why. That is what I learned in computer science instead of like C or C. Actually, I should have been learning C# then when I took it. That lets you know how, those that know, that lets you know how old I am. But yeah, so I have no idea. My coding is Turbo Pascal and HTML. So I have no idea. However, as a gamer, as a consumer, one of the great things about playing games is that they look different. And now that we're having these engines used for multiple games, and there's a homogeneity you're seeing with how they render. Maybe not the worlds themselves, but that tree looked like a tree somewhere else. And what got me was the mech. Like the mech looks familiar, the rust and the metal, and like it looked like something else, even though it was Avatar. It reminded me of something else in another game, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. That the metal itself, like the Star Wars games, particularly, I remember what they showed from their Ubisoft showcase and how dusty and dirty that Outlaw Cavern looked, how the metal had a rust to it or a dullness to it because it was old. That's what it reminded me of.
I can see that.
Yeah, not to knock the game. It looks like it'll be good, and especially, Massive has done the Division and other games that have been really, really, Division 2, Division. So they've done some games that people really enjoy and people have really loved. I wasn't so much of a fan of the Division. It's because we talked about killing real people. My thing with that, that's just my personal preference.
Right.
I games like that, those ultra realistic military games, the newer generation just never got into it. But Avatar looks pretty cool. What do you think, Brian? I mean, what do you think, Brian? I'm about to call you Brandon. Brian, I have too many Brandons in my life.
That's understandable. That's understandable. I am of even or a similar mindset. Now, for me personally, I'm not quite sold on this game specifically because it's a first-person shooter. Something about that, I don't know. I just think I'm in a stage of my like gaming lifespan where I'm pretty much like first-person shooters. They got to be kind of special in order for me to get into them, because that's pretty much what dominates, popular gaming culture. At least, like, we got all of these, Call of Duty every year now. It's Battlefield at one point. All these, it's a bunch of shooting games out. Granted, that's fine because this is supposed to be, themed after Pandora and the Avatar universe. But I think, at least for me personally, the way I connect to Pandora, I would more so prefer a third-person RPG kind of game.
Right.
Something that, because I mentioned Horizon earlier, still that's there. But wait, is this the VR one? Is this?
No, no, there's no VR.
Okay, because remember they was putting out a VR. Okay, but anyway, that's different. Yeah, I would prefer to see it more like that. I don't know. I don't want to see the eyes. I don't want to see Pandora through the eyes of a first person lens. Like, give me.
I agree with you on
adventure,
that one,
man. Give me RPG.
Yeah,
action.
like a Tomb Raider style sort of feel. Yeah, we've gotten some really good third-person over-the-shoulder games, and I think that this is one of those properties that really would lend well to a third-person over-the-shoulder narrative game. I keep thinking about what Capcom has done with RE and those remakes, and then you talk about Horizon. I don't know. We'll see what they say, because I'm gonna probably watch a review on this one as well. But it looks interesting. But I feel you on that one. I feel like that the way a lot of companies have been going lately, they've done better storytelling, doing that over the shoulder third person narrative.
Yeah,
the Sony model, I'll say, and put it that way. There's something that can be lost in a game like this with a first person viewer and perspective. And somewhat, while some may believe that first person, totally immerses you, I think for some people it can take people out of that immersiveness.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Well, that's our take on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Oh, one quick thing. Massive said, I was reading, I pulled this up because I wanted to see a bit of the history of it. They first said they were working on an Avatar game back in 2017. So this game is 6 years in the making.
That's why it looked like that. Because 2017, when did we get the PlayStation 5?
2020. Yeah, they came out in 2020, which would, around the development cycle, people would have been developing for those games then. It was revealed in 2021, and then the trailer came out last year. But yeah, they said they were working, the next title would be a game based on Avatar in 2017. So let's just say they started working in 2018. So this is a 5-year development cycle for this game.
Which I appreciate the amount of dedication. It's just, like I said, I wouldn't have, I really would have made an RPG. Like, just sometimes, and I feel like that they went with this first person angle just because an RPG style game would be expected. Like the world of Avatar, like it's so immersive, and they don't like we just talked about how they're doing more movies. So obviously, people will want an RPG type feel. That's why I feel like they went, wanted to go against that. But it's like sometimes you don't need to do that. Like,
Right.
if the property has done an amazing job of building a world, then just put a character in it and let people run wild. You don't need to do all the I'm gonna make it first person, because from what I know about Avatar, because I don't remember the full first movie, and I haven't seen the second one. But the Na'vi, they were like pretty against these machines and things like that. So the whole using of the rocket launcher and stuff like that, and these automatic weapons or whatever, that don't.
I think some of that changed though. In his first movie and in the second movie. Like, I still haven't seen the second movie, so I'm just going based off of the trailers we saw. That's all.
Okay.
So,
well, I don't know. Either way,
it's a game, though, Brian. It's a game. You can do anything you want in the game. I think that's the point.
Right. I hope so, though.
Yeah. So I hope that does well. Honestly, I hope it does well.
Yeah.
So last but not least, we have, I guess, the indie darling of the group, and it's a Highland song.
These hills are awash with stories.
Come to the sea by Beltane, he said.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing it. I'm coming. I must be off my trolley. Yes!
I'm impressed.
Come to the lighthouse, Moira.
These like
come as fast as you can.
This scenery and stuff, they did a really good job designing this game.
Yeah. Like the background, the land is like kind of like a realistic watercolor almost, but then you see the main character like these 2D animated characters, so they really stand out against the background. It is so beautiful, man. That looks like just looks like such a great game.
It does.
So look, the indie game is the one we get excited about,
because it's always
it's always
it's always the indie game. Somebody that's thinking outside of the box, that's tired of the same thing, tired of from these regular AAA games.
Right, exactly. So that's it for this week, Brian. Brian, what's going on with you? What's I know you dropped a podcast lately.
I did. I'll put a new episode out, just detailing. Well, it's a little review of my experience playing Spider-Man 2. As I said last week,
Spider-Man.
Right. As I said last week, I beat the game, 100% completion on the story and all that. 32 hours of button mashing and high swinging fun and web flight. It was a good time. Like I said, and I definitely got some understanding as to why the Game of the Year nomination, all that talk was very, very early on in this game, because the game still came out in October. It's only in December, and they talk about the Game of the Year, But all that aside, I did really, really enjoy the game. The story was the best part. I'm like, there's so much you could do. Well, not so much, but there's a lot you could do to keep you entertained as the individual Spider-Man. But like that, the story, whoever wrote that, pieced all that together, figured out a way to tie in all of these iconic Spider-Man characters to this one particular game. Phenomenal job. I'm happy. I paid full price for it. Full price, well spent. Goddamn, I enjoyed the game. So that's what I ended up talking about on the episode there. You want to listen, because I said a lot just now, but I say even more. So if you're interested, that is on whatever streaming platform you can find podcasts. What about yourself? I know you've been driving.
Lot going on.
I see it.
Got to Kuya and I and the crew went out to Exotic DC this weekend. So I got videos from that dropping starting today. I think today Quincy Rose video dropped, and I got a couple others coming up next couple weeks. No podcast this week just because been busy. Some other behind the scenes work. There's a couple of guest spots on some other podcasts will be out in a couple of weeks. Also, got to get back in the habit. Got Game Bites coming out hopefully this weekend, talking about revisiting Halo Infinite. And speaking of Halo Xbox, I ended up picking up this. I hope you can see it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Yeah. Limited edition Xbox Series X inspired watch. So the unboxing of that right now is on my social medias, but you'll see a full video for that probably by the end of the week as well, based on this reporting. So talking about that, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good deal too.
Interested in that.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. Of course, you know where you are. Nerds of the World. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Release Wednesday, on Twitter, X, whatever Elon wants to call it today, yesterday, whenever. It's his money. The NRW. And of course, right, dumb idea, right? And of course, you're currently on YouTube. So we implore you, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.